Stop waiting. For years you've labored hard, yet watched money slip through your fingers because your habits serve scarcity, not wealth. For 30 days, you will rewrite those habits. Disciplined, saving, relentless value creation, daily study, and precise action at dawn. This is the law the masters knew. Carnegie, Ford, Edison plant a definite purpose, guard it, and your world rearranges. Act as if the author of abundance breathes through you, and you will command opportunities that once ignored you. Commit now, track every dollar, speak your aim aloud morning and night, and watch compound momentum multiply what is yours. Silence the voices that have told you wealth comes from luck, from lineage, from forces beyond your grasp. They lied, not because they were cruel, but because they never learned the law. Wealth does not descend from heaven like rain. It does not favor the fortunate or the charming or the connected. Wealth obeys law. It moves toward clarity. It follows command. It multiplies under rhythm. And if you have not yet experienced its arrival, it is because you have not yet obeyed the conditions that summon it. This is not philosophy. This is not inspiration. This is instruction. For 30 days you will do what most men refuse to do. You will write one aim. You will speak it twice daily. You will move with measured action. You will build systems that produce while you sleep. And at the end of that span, if you have not broken the rhythm, you will witness multiplication. Not because I promise it, but because the law guarantees it when obeyed without deviation. The lie is simple and it is everywhere. You have been told that money comes from talent, from education, from timing, from being in the right room with the right people, and so you wait. You polish your resume. You hope for recognition. You work harder and expect the world to notice. But the world does not reward effort. It rewards alignment. It rewards the man who knows what he wants, who speaks it with conviction, who acts as if the result were already his, and who builds the machinery that makes it inevitable. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the wealthiest men of his era. He sat with Carnegie, with Ford, with Edison, with Rockefeller. He watched them build empires from dirt. He listened to their language. He examined their habits. And he discovered that every one of them, without exception, obeyed the same invisible laws. They did not stumble into fortune. They commanded it. They did not hope for wealth. They constructed the conditions that made wealth unavoidable. And the laws they followed are not hidden. They are not reserved for the chosen few. They are available to any man who will accept them, speak them, and move according to their rhythm. The central law is this: definite purpose combined with repeated suggestion and measured action multiplies wealth in 30 days. Not because 30 is a magic number, but because 30 days of unbroken rhythm is long enough to reprogram the subconscious mind, to build a new identity, to install the habits that produce results, and to generate the momentum that carries you past the point where most men quit. 30 days is not the finish line. It is the threshold. It is the door. And once you step through it, you will never return to the chaos you called normal. Here is what you will learn. You will learn why a man without a written aim serves another man's dream. You will learn how daily repetition of specific words rewires the chemistry of belief. You will learn why decision without retreat accelerates progress more than talent or capital ever could. You will learn how rhythm transforms willpower into automatic action. You will learn why two minds aligned create a third force that neither possesses alone. You will learn how to package value so that money chases you instead of you chasing it. You will learn why silence and focus are the altar upon which wealth is built. And you will learn how to stop trading hours for crumbs and start owning systems that multiply without you. These are not theories. These are mechanisms. And by the end of this instruction, you will possess a ritual with exact times, exact words, exact metrics, and exact milestones for days 30, 60, and 90. You will know what to measure. You will know what to repeat. You will know what to build. And you will know what to eliminate. This is law. This is discipline. This is the architecture of wealth. Let us begin with the first law. Without a definite chief aim, your mind works for another man's purpose. You wake and the world tells you what to think about. You check messages and the urgency of others becomes your agenda. You move through the day, reacting, responding, serving every voice except the one that knows where you are going. And at night, you lie down having worked hard, having been busy, having felt useful, but having built nothing that belongs to you. This is the condition of the drifter. He is not lazy. He is not weak. He is simply without aim. And a man without aim is a ship without a rudder. He moves, but he does not arrive. Andrew Carnegie demanded one thing from every man who worked under his command. He demanded that they know exactly what they wanted. Not vaguely, not someday, not a wish dressed in uncertainty. He required a written statement of purpose, specific and dated, that they would read aloud daily. Why? Because Carnegie understood that the mind, when given a clear target, becomes a magnet. It begins to notice opportunities it previously ignored. It begins to attract people it would have overlooked. It begins to organize resources it did not know existed. But when the mind is unclear, it remains neutral. It drifts. It serves whoever speaks loudest. And the man who drifts never commands. Your first task is to write your definite chief aim. Not tomorrow. Not after you think about it. Now. Take one piece of paper, write one financial goal, make it specific. Make it measurable. Make it dated. Do not write, I want to be wealthy. Write, I will earn $50,000 in the next 90 days through delivering transformation to 10 clients who need what I offer. Do not write, I hope to build something. Write, I will create one system that generates $3,000 per month without my presence by day 60. Do not write, I wish things were different. Write, I am the man who commands wealth through wisdom, and I prove it daily through disciplined action. The difference between these statements is not cosmetic. It is the difference between a man who wishes and a man who commands. The subconscious mind does not respond to hope. It responds to declaration. It responds to clarity. It responds to repetition. And when you write your aim with precision, when you date it, when you speak it aloud twice every day, you are issuing an order to the unseen machinery of your mind. You are telling it what to build. You are giving it a blueprint. And it will obey. But here is the condition. You must read it. Every morning before the world speaks to you, every evening before you sleep, you must read it aloud. You must read it with feeling. You must see yourself already in possession of the result. You must feel the weight of it in your hands. You must hear the sound of your voice as the man who has already received it. This is not pretending. This is programming. This is the mechanism by which belief is manufactured. And belief, once fixed upon a definite aim, becomes the most powerful force available to man. Most men fail not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack resources, not because they lack opportunity. They fail because they lack a definite aim. They move in circles. They work hard but never arrive. They chase every distraction and wonder why nothing multiplies. But the man who writes his aim, who reads it daily, who feels it, who acts as if it were already done, begins to move in a straight line. He eliminates confusion. He rejects distraction. He walks with purpose. And the world, sensing his certainty, begins to yield. Let me ask you now, what is your definite chief aim? Can you state it in one sentence? Can you speak it without hesitation? Can you see it clearly when you close your eyes? If the answer is no, then you do not yet have an aim. You have a wish. And wishes are the language of men who wait. But commands are the language of men who build. So write it. Write it now. Make it clear. Make it dated. Make it yours. Say aloud, I command wealth by wisdom. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. Say it until your voice carries it without doubt. Say it until your posture changes. Say it until you feel the shift inside your chest. This is the first law. This is the foundation. And without it, nothing that follows will hold. With your aim fixed, you have given your mind a target. But a target alone is not enough. The mind must be taught to believe that the target is reachable, that it is yours, that it is inevitable. And this teaching does not happen through logic. It happens through repetition. It happens through daily saturation of specific words spoken with emotion and vision. This is the second law. Repetition directs the chemistry of the mind. Words, when repeated with rhythm and feeling, descend into the subconscious, and there they are transformed into belief. And belief, once installed, begins to command circumstances. Thomas Edison tested 10,000 configurations before the filament obeyed. He did not test randomly. He tested with persistence, with vision, with the absolute conviction that light existed and must be brought forth. You will do the same with your belief. You will test phrases. You will repeat declarations. You will saturate your subconscious with the language of the man you are becoming. And when you repeat those words often enough, with enough feeling, with enough clarity, your subconscious will accept them as truth. And once accepted, it will begin to act upon them. It will generate ideas. It will attract opportunities. It will organize resources, not because it is magic, but because it is law. Here is how you do it. You create 11 affirmations aligned with your definite chief aim. Each one must be in present tense. Each one must be definite. Each one must declare identity, not wish. You do not say, I hope to be wealthy. You say, I am the man who commands wealth through wisdom. You do not say, I want to build systems. You say, I own systems that multiply without me. You do not say, I wish I were confident. You say, I speak with authority because I act with precision. Write 11 statements. Write them as if they are already true. And then stand before a mirror. Look yourself in the eye. Speak the first statement 3 times. Speak it with your chest lifted. Speak it with your voice firm. Feel the words as you say them. See the image of yourself as that man. Then move to the second statement. Repeat the process. 11 statements, 3 repetitions each, twice per day. Once in the morning before the world speaks, once in the evening before you sleep. This is not optional. This is the ritual that builds belief. This is the furnace in which identity is forged. Most men hear this instruction and they nod. They agree. They say, yes, I understand. Repetition builds belief. And then they do nothing. Or they try it once, feel foolish, and abandon it. Or they whisper the words without conviction and wonder why nothing changes. Let me tell you plainly, if you speak without emotion, you are wasting your breath. If you speak without vision, you are reading empty syllables. If you speak without consistency, you are planting seeds and then digging them up the next day to see if they have grown. The subconscious does not respond to casual effort. It responds to intensity. It responds to rhythm. It responds to the man who speaks as if his life depends upon it, because it does. When you stand before that mirror and speak your 11 declarations, you are not talking to your reflection. You are issuing commands to the builder within. You are programming the silent force that shapes your days. You are teaching your inner world what to believe. And once it believes, it begins to act. Ideas emerge, doors open, conversations shift, not because the world changed, but because you changed. And when you change, the world has no choice but to reflect that change back to you. Say aloud now, I speak law, I speak belief, I speak what I am becoming. Say it 3 times. Say it with fire. Say it until you feel the resonance in your chest. This is not theater. This is transformation. This is the mechanism by which a man who doubts becomes a man who commands. And if you do this without fail, morning and evening, for 30 days, you will not recognize the voice that speaks back to you from the mirror. It will be steadier. It will be bolder. It will be the voice of ownership. And that voice will begin to issue orders the world cannot ignore. But belief alone is not enough. Belief without decision is daydream. Belief without action is fantasy. And so we arrive at the third law. Decision that burns bridges accelerates progress more than talent, more than capital, more than any external advantage. Decision is the line between the man who talks and the man who builds. Decision is the moment when you stop negotiating with yourself and commit without retreat. Decision is the fire that consumes the escape routes and forces you forward. And until you make that decision, you will always have one foot in the boat and one foot on the shore, and you will go nowhere. Henry Ford decided. He did not hope, he did not wish, he did not wait for consensus. He decided that the automobile would be built for the common man, that it would be simple, that it would be affordable, and that it would be produced in volume. The experts told him it was impossible. The financiers told him it was reckless. The engineers told him it could not be done. And he built it anyway. Why? Because he had made a decision. And once the decision was made, his mind went to work finding the way. It did not waste energy reconsidering. It did not entertain doubt. It moved forward with singular focus, and the world adjusted to accommodate his conviction. You must now make your decision, not a soft commitment, not a flexible intention, a decision that eliminates retreat, a decision that burns the bridges behind you and forces you to move forward or fail in full view. What does that look like? It looks like this. You take your definite chief aim and you tell 3 people who will hold you accountable. You write a check, you book the appointment, you send the proposal, you make the investment that commits you to the path. You remove the option of drifting back into comfort. You make it harder to quit than to continue, and then you move. Most men fail not because their decision was wrong, but because they never made one. They keep their options open. They hedge. They wait for certainty before they commit. But certainty is the reward of decision, not the condition for it. You do not wait until you feel ready. You decide, and readiness follows. You do not wait until fear disappears. You decide, and fear loses its grip. You do not wait until the path is clear. You decide, and the path reveals itself as you walk. Here is your task. List 3 distractions that drain your money, your attention, or your energy. 3 habits, 3 subscriptions, 3 relationships, 3 commitments that consume without producing. Write them down and eliminate them today, not next week, not when it is convenient. Today, cancel the subscription, delete the app, end the conversation, remove the distraction. You are clearing the field so that the seed you planted can grow without competition. You are removing the noise so that your aim can be heard clearly by your subconscious. You are burning the bridges so that retreat is no longer an option. And then make one financial commitment every day, one action that moves your definite chief aim forward. Send one proposal, make one call, write one page, build one piece of the system. It does not need to be large. It needs to be real. It needs to be done. Because decision without action is delusion, and action without rhythm is chaos. But decision combined with daily action becomes momentum, and momentum, once established, is almost impossible to stop. Say aloud, each day I act in obedience. Action seals decision. Say it now. Say it with your shoulders back. Say it as the man who has already decided, who has already committed, who is already moving. Because that is who you are becoming. That is the identity you are building. And every time you act in alignment with that identity, you make it more real. You prove to yourself that you are not the man who waits. You are the man who moves. And the world, sensing that movement, begins to open doors you did not know existed. But here is the danger. Decision without rhythm dies. You make the commitment on Monday, and by Friday you have drifted back into distraction. You act with intensity for 3 days and then collapse into inconsistency. You speak your affirmations in the morning, and by noon you have forgotten them. And so we arrive at the 4th law. What repeats governs. Rhythm transforms willpower into automatic action. Rhythm is the mechanism by which temporary effort becomes permanent identity. And if you do not install rhythm, you will spend the rest of your life starting over. John D. Rockefeller did not build an empire through sporadic effort. He built it through rhythm. He woke at the same hour. He reviewed his ledgers with the same cadence. He made decisions with the same framework. He moved through his days with a precision that others mistook for rigidity, but it was not rigidity. It was mastery, because the man who controls his rhythm controls his results, and the man who drifts with impulse serves chaos. You must now build your sacred calendar, not a wish list, not a to-do list that changes with your mood, a fixed structure that governs your days, regardless of how you feel. Here is the structure. Morning command. You rise at the same hour every day. You do not check your phone. You do not open your email. You do not allow the world to speak first. You stand before the mirror. You speak your 11 affirmations, 3 times each, with feeling. You spend 5 minutes in silence, breathing deeply, seeing your aim already accomplished, feeling the weight of it, hearing the sound of your own voice as the man who possesses it. And then you read your definite chief aim aloud. This is non-negotiable. This is the first block of your day. This is the ritual that sets the tone for everything that follows. Deep work. From 6 o'clock until 7:30, you enter your task of highest value, the one task that moves your definite chief aim forward more than any other. You do this work in airplane mode. You do this work with the door closed. You do this work with no interruptions, no distractions, no negotiations. 90 minutes of focused intensity produces more wealth than 40 hours of scattered effort. This is your prince task. This is the work that builds the future, and you do it first, before the world wakes, before the noise begins, before your energy is spent on tasks that do not matter. Midday action. At 12 o'clock, you execute one metric that feeds your aim. If your aim is financial, you make 10 contacts or you send 3 proposals. You choose one key performance indicator and you hit it every single day for 30 days. Not when you feel inspired, not when conditions are perfect. Every day, without exception. This is the rhythm that builds momentum. This is the action that compounds. And after 30 days of unbroken execution, you will have moved further than most men move in a year. Evening review. At 6:30, you pause. You mark 3 victories from the day. They do not need to be large. They need to be real. You identify one area for improvement. You do not dwell on failure. You note it, you adjust, and you move forward. And then you read your definite chief aim aloud one more time. You speak it with the same conviction you spoke it in the morning. You remind your subconscious what you are building. You reinforce the identity. You close the day as you opened it, with clarity, with purpose, with command. This rhythm is not a suggestion. It is the structure upon which wealth is built. It is the mechanism that transforms intention into result. And if you follow it without deviation for 30 days, you will install a new operating system in your mind. You will no longer need willpower to do the work. The work will become automatic. You will no longer need motivation to act. Action will become your default. You will no longer wonder what to do. You will simply do what your rhythm commands. And the results will multiply because you have obeyed the law. Say aloud, I plant understanding and I reap gold. I sow discipline and I harvest freedom. Say it until it becomes your internal music. Say it until your days move to its rhythm. Because rhythm is the cure for drift. Rhythm is the antidote to chaos. Rhythm is the force that turns a common man into an uncommon builder. And once you have rhythm, you are ready for the 5th law. 2 minds aligned in honest harmony create a third force that neither possesses alone. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is mechanical law. When 2 people come together with a shared aim, with mutual respect, with clear communication and definite purpose, something emerges that transcends individual capacity. Ideas flow that would not have appeared in isolation. Solutions surface that neither mind could have generated separately. Energy multiplies. Clarity sharpens. And the combined force moves obstacles that would have stopped either person alone. This is the mastermind principle, and it is the 5th law of wealth multiplication. Charles Schwab understood this law. He did not build the steel empire alone. He surrounded himself with men whose minds complemented his own. He formed councils. He held regular meetings with fixed agendas. He demanded honesty, clarity, and measurement. And through that alliance of minds, he orchestrated operations at a scale that no single genius could have commanded. The mastermind was not a social club. It was a strategic weapon. It was the furnace in which plans were tested, refined, and executed. And the men who participated in it became wealthier, not because they worked harder, but because they worked in harmony. You must now form your own mastermind alliance. Not a casual gathering, not a vague networking group, a deliberate circle of 2 to 5 people who share your commitment to measurable growth, who speak the language of results, who demand accountability, and who refuse to tolerate drift. You meet once per week for exactly 45 minutes. No more, no less. You do not meet to complain. You do not meet to socialize. You meet to report data, to identify blockages, and to make decisions. You bring your numbers. You bring your challenges. You bring your next 3 actions, and you leave with clarity. Here is the structure of the meeting. Each person reports 1 key metric from the past week: revenue generated, proposals sent, systems built, clients served. Whatever moves, the definite chief aim forward. You do not explain, you do not justify, you state the number. Then each person identifies 1 blockage, 1 obstacle that is slowing progress. Again, no stories, no excuses, just the blockage named clearly. And then the group makes 1 decision together. What is the next best action to remove the blockage or to accelerate the metric? 1 decision, not 10 ideas, not a brainstorming session. 1 actionable decision that someone commits to executing before the next meeting. This rhythm transforms conversation into progress. It eliminates the wasted time that most meetings generate. It forces clarity. It rewards action. And it creates a current of accountability that pulls every member forward. You do not drift when you know you must report your numbers to men who respect you. You do not delay when you know your blockage will be named aloud. You do not hide when you know your next action must be stated with precision. The mastermind is the mirror that shows you where you are lying to yourself. And once you see the lie, you can correct it. But the mastermind only works if the alliance is honest. You cannot bring ego into the room. You cannot bring competition. You cannot bring the need to look impressive. You must bring your truth. You must bring your real numbers, your real struggles, your real confusion. And you must trust that the others will do the same. Because the power of the mastermind is not in impressing each other. It is in sharpening each other. Iron sharpens iron, and weak men surrounded by weak men remain weak. But a man of purpose surrounded by men of purpose becomes unstoppable. If you do not yet have such men or women in your life, you must find them. You must seek them with intention. You look for the person who is building, not complaining. You look for the person who tracks metrics, not feelings. You look for the person who speaks in terms of results, not intentions. And when you find that person, you propose a simple alliance. We meet for 45 minutes every week. We report data. We name blockages. We decide on action. No therapy, no gossip, no drift, just progress. And if they agree, you have begun to build the force that will carry you past the limitations of solitary effort. And if you cannot find such people in your immediate circle, then you walk with the minds that left their thoughts in books. You read Carnegie, you read Ford, you read Hill, you read the builders, the strategists, the men who turned thought into empire. You let their words become your silent counsel. You absorb their language. You adopt their frameworks. And you carry their wisdom with you until you stand strong enough to gather the living around you. You are never alone if you walk with powerful thought. The mastermind can exist in your mind before it exists in a room. But eventually, it must become real. It must become scheduled. It must become the counsel that governs your growth. Say aloud, "In counsel, power multiplies. I serve by value. I receive by transformation. Say it until you believe it. Say it until you feel the pull to find your alliance. Because once you have rhythm and once you have allies aligned with your aim, you are ready to direct all of that force toward the sixth law, the law that determines whether you remain a laborer or become an owner. Money does not chase effort. Money chases solutions. It flows toward the man who solves expensive problems. It pursues the woman who delivers transformation that others cannot or will not provide. And it ignores the person who simply trades hours for wages, no matter how hard they work, no matter how many hours they log, no matter how exhausted they become. The world does not pay for effort. It pays for value. And until you learn to package value in a form that the market can see, measure, and pay for, you will remain trapped in the cycle of labor. This is the sixth law. Value commands gold. And the man who masters value never begs for money. Money begs for access to him. Abraham Lincoln understood this principle. He did not win arguments through volume. He won them through precision. He could condense a complex position into a single paragraph that decided the trajectory of a nation. He did not speak longer. He spoke clearer. He did not work harder. He worked with more focus. And because his value was undeniable, because his clarity was unmatched, he commanded influence that others could not purchase. This is the essence of value. It is not about how much you do. It is about how much transformation you create. And transformation is the currency that purchases freedom. Your task now is to stop selling time and start selling results. You must identify one expensive problem in your market, one pain point that costs people money, time, energy, reputation, or peace. You must understand that problem better than they understand it themselves. You must study it. You must name it. You must describe it in language so precise that when they hear you speak, they say, "Yes, that is exactly what I am facing." And then you must package a solution, not a vague promise, not a hopeful attempt, a clear, definite, measurable transformation. Here is the structure of a value-driven offer. First, the promise. What will they have at the end that they do not have now? Be specific. Not you will feel better, but you will generate 10 qualified leads per week through a system that runs without you. Not you will improve your health, but you will lose 15 pounds in 60 days while eating foods you enjoy and training 3 times per week for 30 minutes. The promise must be concrete, measurable, and desirable. It must be something they can see, something they can verify, something they can hold in their hands. Second, the proof. Why should they believe you can deliver this transformation? Show them evidence. Show them past results. Show them the process. Show them the framework. Show them testimonials from others who received what you promise. Proof removes doubt. Doubt is the enemy of the sale. And the sale is the moment when value converts into gold. So you build proof deliberately. You create case studies. You document transformations. You collect testimonials. And you present that proof in a form that is undeniable. Third, the price. You do not apologize for it. You do not justify it. You state it with the same certainty you state your name. The price reflects the value of the transformation, not the hours you spend delivering it. If you solve a problem that costs someone $10,000 in lost revenue, your price can be $3,000, $5,000, or more. Not because of your time, but because of their result. You are not selling hours. You are selling freedom from a problem that was costing them far more than your fee. And when you frame it this way, price becomes irrelevant. They are not buying your time, they are buying their future. Fourth, the process. How long will it take? What will they need to do? What will you do? Be clear. Clarity removes fear. Fear kills decisions. So you walk them through the path. You show them the steps. You make it simple. You make it believable. And then you make the invitation. You do not beg. You do not pressure. You simply say, if you are ready to solve this problem, here is how we begin. And you wait, because the man who carries value does not chase. He presents, and the market decides. When you master value, you master pricing. When you master pricing, you master your time. And when you master your time, you are no longer a servant, you are an owner. But even the best offer will fail if it is delivered by a man who cannot focus. Even the clearest promise will dissolve if it is spoken by a mind that is scattered. And so we arrive at the seventh law. Attention is the altar upon which wealth is built. The man who governs his attention governs his destiny. And the man who allows his attention to be stolen by every notification, every distraction, every passing voice will build nothing that lasts. King Solomon, when given the choice of any gift from the divine, did not ask for wealth, he did not ask for power, he did not ask for long life, he asked for understanding. And because he asked for understanding, because he chose wisdom over immediate gratification, both wealth and power followed. Why? Because understanding requires focus. Understanding requires the ability to sit with a problem until clarity emerges. Understanding requires silence, and silence is the rarest commodity in a world that profits from your distraction. Your devices are designed to interrupt you. Your platforms are engineered to fragment your attention. Your environment is optimized to keep you reactive, scattered, and dependent. And every time you allow your attention to be hijacked, you are surrendering the one asset that could multiply everything else. You are trading the altar for the noise. You are giving away the throne for a moment of shallow stimulation. And you wonder why you cannot build. You wonder why your days feel productive, but your results remain flat. It is because you are working in motion, but not in focus. And motion without focus is exhaustion disguised as progress. Here is what you will do. Before you begin your deep work, before you touch your task of highest value, you will sit in silence for 5 minutes. Not meditation, not prayer, unless that is your language. Simply silence. You will sit with your back straight, your hands resting, your breath slow and deliberate. You will close your eyes. You will feel the air enter your lungs and leave your lungs. You will notice the weight of your body in the chair. You will bring your full attention to the present moment, and you will hold it there. No phone, no music, no background noise. Just you and the silence. At first, your mind will resist. It will offer you 1,000 thoughts. It will remind you of tasks undone, of messages unanswered, of problems unresolved. Let those thoughts pass. Do not fight them. Do not engage them. Simply notice them and return your attention to your breath, in and out, slow and steady. You are training your mind to obey you. You are teaching it that you are the master, not the servant. You are proving to yourself that you can hold your attention on one thing without fracture, and this capacity, once developed, will change everything. After 5 minutes, you will open your eyes. You will place your phone in another room. You will close unnecessary tabs. You will eliminate every potential distraction from your workspace. And then you will begin your 90 minutes of deep work with a level of focus that most men never experience. You will move through that task with precision. You will not check your messages. You will not answer calls. You will not allow interruptions, because this is the time when wealth is built. This is the window when your mind operates at full capacity, and if you protect it, if you defend it, if you guard it like the sacred space it is, you will produce in 90 minutes what scattered men cannot produce in a week. This is not extreme. This is not unreasonable. This is the minimum requirement for a man who refuses to remain ordinary. 1 Prince task per day. 90 minutes. Airplane mode. No excuses. And if you do this every day for 30 days, you will complete 30 transformative sessions, 30 building blocks, 30 advances toward your definite chief aim. And at the end of those 30 days, you will look back and wonder how you ever worked any other way. Say aloud now, I command attention. Attention commands destiny. I choose silence over noise. Say it with your eyes closed. Say it with your breath steady. Say it until you feel the shift in your nervous system. Because this is not just a declaration. This is a reprogramming. This is the installation of a new operating instruction. And once installed, Your mind will begin to crave focus the way it once craved distraction. You will hunger for silence the way you once reached for stimulation. And in that silence, you will find the clarity that builds empires. But focus alone is not enough. Focus applied to the wrong task produces nothing. Focus without leverage is still labor. And labor, no matter how focused, cannot free you. And so we arrive at the eighth and final law, the law that separates the man who works hard from the man who builds wealth. Stop trading hours for crumbs. Start building systems that produce without you. This is the threshold. This is the gate between the servant and the owner. And until you cross it, you will remain trapped in the cycle of effort without multiplication. Henry Ford did not become wealthy by assembling cars with his own hands. He became wealthy by designing a system that assembled cars while he thought. He built a process, he documented steps, he trained others, he created machinery. And from that moment forward, his wealth multiplied not because he worked longer hours, but because his system worked while he slept. This is the difference between the laborer and the owner. The laborer trades time for money. The owner builds systems that generate money without his presence. And the moment you cross from one to the other, your life changes permanently. Your task now is to stop being the bottleneck in your own business. You must begin documenting every process you perform, every task, every conversation, every step in your delivery. You must take what lives in your head and transfer it onto paper, into checklists, into templates, into scripts. Why? Because once it is documented, it can be delegated. Once it is delegated, you are no longer the only one who can do it. And once you are no longer the only one who can do it, you can scale. You can multiply. You can build a machine that runs whether you show up or not. Here is the practice. Every day, for the next 30 days, you will document one process, just one. It does not need to be complex. It can be as simple as the script you use to open a sales conversation. It can be the checklist you follow when onboarding a new client. It can be the template you use to write a proposal. One process per day. By the end of 30 days, you will have 30 documented systems, 30 pieces of intellectual property, 30 assets that can be trained, refined, and replicated. And those assets, collectively, become the machinery of wealth. But documentation is only the first step. The second step is automation. You must identify which of those processes can be systemized further. Can you create a template that reduces the time required? Can you build a form that captures information automatically? Can you use technology to eliminate repetitive work? Every hour you automate is an hour you reclaim, and every hour you reclaim is an hour you can invest in high-value work, work that only you can do, work that moves your aim forward, work that builds the next system. The third step is asset creation. One asset per week for the next 12 weeks. An asset is anything that attracts, converts, or serves without your direct involvement. A lead magnet that captures emails. A sales page that presents your offer. A video that answers common questions. A script that trains someone else to deliver your service. An automated email sequence that nurtures prospects. Each asset you create is a brick in the foundation of ownership. And once the foundation is built, you can build the empire on top of it. Most men never make this transition. They remain the hero of their own business, the one who does everything, the one without whom nothing happens. And they call it dedication. They call it excellence. They call it caring. But it is none of those things. It is fear. Fear of letting go. Fear of trusting others. Fear that if they are not indispensable, they will become unnecessary. But the opposite is true. The moment you make yourself unnecessary in the day-to-day operations, you become indispensable in the strategic vision. You become the architect instead of the laborer. You become the conductor instead of the instrument, and that is when wealth truly begins to multiply. Say aloud, hours serve, systems govern, I own systems, not shifts. Say it until you feel the release. Say it until you can imagine a day when your income arrives, whether you work or not. Say it until you understand that the goal is not to work forever. The goal is to build something that works for you. And once you build it, you are free. Now you have the 8 laws. You understand the architecture. You know what must be done. But knowledge without execution is betrayal. Understanding without practice is cowardice. And so we arrive at the ritual, the daily structure that transforms these laws from theory into flesh. This is not optional. This is not a suggestion for those who feel motivated. This is the non-negotiable framework that you will follow for the next 30 days without deviation, without excuse, without negotiation. And if you follow it with precision, you will not recognize yourself at the end of that span. The ritual begins before the sun rises. You set your alarm for 5:30 in the morning, not 5:45, not 6 o'clock, 5:30. You do not negotiate with the alarm. You do not press snooze. You do not lie in bed bargaining with yourself about 5 more minutes. You rise immediately when the sound breaks the silence. You plant your feet on the floor. You feel the cold surface against your skin. You take 3 deep breaths, each one pulling air down into your belly, each one reminding you that you are alive, that you are awake, that you have been given another day to build. You walk to the bathroom. You do not check your phone. You do not turn on the television. You do not allow any voice other than your own to enter your mind. You stand before the mirror. The room is quiet. The light is steady. You look directly into your own eyes, not at your reflection. Into your eyes, you see the man who has been waiting, the man who has been delayed, the man who is now ready to command. And you begin to speak. You speak the first line with your voice clear and firm. I am the man who commands wealth through wisdom. You do not whisper it. You do not rush it. You speak it as a declaration of law. You feel the words in your chest. You see the image of yourself as that man. And you repeat it 3 times, each repetition stronger than the last, each repetition more certain. You are not convincing yourself. You are instructing yourself. You are issuing an order to the builder within. You move to the second line. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now, 3 times, each time with more feeling, each time with the image of yourself already free, already moving, already building. You feel your shoulders straighten. You feel your breath deepen. You are not the same man who woke 5 minutes ago. You are becoming the man you are declaring. The third line. I speak law. I speak belief. I speak what I am becoming. 3 times. Your voice is steady now. Your eyes do not waver. You are holding your own gaze without flinching. You are proving to yourself that you can stand in your own presence without shame, without doubt, without retreat. This is the first victory of the day, and it happens before anyone else is awake. The 4th line. Each day I act in obedience to my definite aim, 3 times. You feel the commitment settle into your bones. You are not hoping to act. You are declaring that you will act. You are removing the question. There is no room for maybe. There is only yes. The 5th line. I plant understanding and I reap gold, 3 times. You see the image of yourself studying, learning, refining. You see the harvest that follows. You do not separate the planting from the reaping. You understand that they are one continuous motion, and you commit to both. The 6th line. In counsel, power multiplies. 3 times. You see your mastermind. You see the faces of those who walk with you. You feel the strength of alliance. You know you are not alone, and you declare that you will seek wisdom from those who carry it. The 7th line. I serve by value. I receive by transformation. 3 times. You feel the shift in your posture. You are not a beggar. You are not a salesman. You are a builder of transformation, and you know that money chases value. So, you commit to creating value that cannot be ignored. The 8th line. I command attention. Attention commands destiny. 3 times. You feel your mind sharpen. You see yourself sitting in silence. You see yourself in deep work. You see yourself refusing distraction, and you declare that your focus will not be stolen. The 9th line, hours serve, systems govern. I own systems, not shifts. 3 times. You see the machine you are building. You see the processes documented. You see the assets created. You see yourself free from the grind because the grind now runs without you. And you commit to building one more piece of that machine today. The 10th line. I do not shrink. I do not stall. I move while others wait. 3 times. You feel the fire in your chest. You are not the man who hesitates. You are not the man who asks for permission. You are the man who decides and acts, and the world will adjust to your movement. The 11th line. I am what I have decided to become. Nothing is impossible because I believe. 3 times. This is the final declaration. This is the seal. You speak it with every ounce of conviction you possess. You feel it reverberate through your entire body. You are no longer speaking to the mirror. You are speaking to the universe, and the universe is listening. You hold your own gaze for 10 seconds of silence. You breathe. You feel the weight of what you just declared. You do not rush away. You let it settle. You let it sink. You let it become real. And then you step back. The mirror ritual is complete. 33 declarations, 11 lines, 3 repetitions each, spoken with feeling, spoken with vision, spoken with law. This is how you build belief. This is how you install identity. And you will do this every morning for 30 days without fail. After the mirror, you sit in your chair, you close your eyes, you spend 5 minutes in silence. You do not think, you do not plan. You simply breathe, in through your nose, slow and steady. Out through your mouth, slow and deliberate. You feel your heartbeat. You feel the air moving through your lungs. You feel the stillness in the room. And in that stillness, you allow your definite chief aim to appear in your mind. You do not force it. You simply see it. You see yourself already in possession of the result. You hear the sounds of that future. You feel the emotions of that moment. You let it become real in your imagination. And then you release it. You do not grasp. You simply see, feel, and release. 5 minutes of silence, 5 minutes of vision, 5 minutes of training your mind to hold the future as if it were already here. When the 5 minutes end, you open your eyes. You take the written copy of your definite chief aim, the one you wrote after the first law, the one that is specific, dated, and clear, and you read it aloud. You read it slowly. You read it with conviction. You do not rush through the words. You let each sentence land. You feel the promise of each phrase. And when you finish, you fold the paper and place it where you will see it again tonight. The morning command is complete. It is 6 o'clock. You have spent 30 minutes building the foundation of your day, and now you are ready to work. From 6 o'clock until 7:30, you enter your deep work session. This is your 90 minutes of focused intensity. Your phone is in another room. Your door is closed. Your workspace is clear. You have one task, the task that moves your definite chief aim forward more than any other. And you do that task without interruption. You do not check messages. You do not browse. You do not allow distractions. You move through the work with precision and speed. And at 7:30, when the session ends, you will have accomplished more than most men accomplish in a full day. Because you worked with focus. Because you worked with purpose. Because you worked in alignment with your aim. At noon, you execute your metric. If your aim is financial, you make 10 contacts. You send 3 proposals. You conduct 2 consultations. You choose 1 key performance indicator, and you hit it every single day for 30 days. This is not flexible. This is not optional. This is the rhythm that builds momentum. And momentum, once established, carries you past obstacles that would have stopped you in the first week. You do not wait until you feel ready to execute your metric. You do not wait until you have perfect language. You do not wait until conditions are ideal. You execute at noon, every day, without negotiation, Because the world does not reward the man who waits for perfect conditions. It rewards the man who moves in imperfect conditions and refines as he goes. 10 contacts per day for 30 days is 300 contacts. 3 proposals per day for 30 days is 90 proposals. Do you understand the mathematics of consistency? Most men send 3 proposals in a month and wonder why they are not wealthy. You will send 90 in the same span, and if only 10% convert, you will have 9 new clients, and 9 new clients, if your offer is valuable, can transform your financial reality completely. But the metric is not just about the number. It is about the identity. Every time you execute your metric, you are proving to yourself that you are the man who acts. You are not the man who talks about acting. You are not the man who plans to act. You are the man who acts. And that identity, reinforced daily, becomes unshakable. So at noon, you stop everything else. You execute your metric. You record the result. And then you continue with your day, knowing that you have already won, because you have done the one thing that most men will avoid. You have moved toward your aim with measurable action. At 6:30 in the evening, you enter your review. You sit in the same chair where you sat in silence this morning. You take out a journal or a sheet of paper, and you write 3 victories from the day. Not hopes, not intentions, victories, things you actually completed. They do not need to be large. They need to be real. Perhaps you completed your 90-minute deep work session. That is a victory. Perhaps you executed your metric of 10 contacts. That is a victory. Perhaps you documented one process and added it to your system. That is a victory. You write them down. You see them on paper, and you feel the accumulation. One day of victories may seem small, but 30 days of victories becomes a mountain. Then you write one improvement, not a failure, not a regret, an improvement. One thing you will adjust tomorrow. Perhaps your deep work session was interrupted by a phone call. Tomorrow you will leave your phone in a drawer, not just in another room. Perhaps you rushed through your affirmations this morning. Tomorrow you will speak them slower, with more feeling. Perhaps you forgot to document your process. Tomorrow you will set a timer to remind you. You are not dwelling on what went wrong. You are identifying what to refine. You are treating your life like a system that can be optimized. And optimization, repeated daily, leads to mastery. After you write your 3 victories and your 1 improvement, you take out your definite chief aim once more. You read it aloud. You read it with the same conviction you read it this morning. You see the image again. You feel the emotion again. You remind your subconscious that this is the target. This is the aim. This is what you are building. And then you close the day. The ritual is complete. From 5:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night, you have lived according to law. You have built belief. You have acted with precision. You have moved with rhythm. And tomorrow you will do it again, and the day after that, and the day after that, for 30 days without fail. But 30 days is only the beginning. 30 days installs the habit. 60 days deepens the identity. 90 days makes it permanent. And so you must understand the arc. You must see the progression. You must know what you are building toward at each milestone so that you do not stop when the first wave of resistance arrives. Because resistance will arrive. On day 7, you will wake and feel tired. On day 14, you will doubt whether the ritual is working. On day 21, you will be tempted to skip just one morning. And if you do not know what is coming, if you do not have a map, you will break. But if you see the arc, if you understand the phases, you will hold. In the first 30 days, your only goal is consistency. You are not measuring outcomes yet. You are measuring execution. Did you speak your affirmations? Did you complete your deep work? Did you hit your metric? Did you review your day? If the answer is yes, you mark the day with a bold X on your calendar. And your target is to mark at least 24 days out of 30. That is 80% consistency. That is the threshold. If you hit 24 days, you have successfully installed the ritual. You have proven to yourself that you can show up. You have demonstrated that you are not ruled by feelings, you are ruled by commitment, and that proof, that evidence, becomes the foundation for everything that follows. At day 30, you pause. You do not celebrate yet, you assess. You look at your calendar and you count the marks. If you have 24 or more, you continue. If you have fewer than 24, you do not quit. You simply begin another 30-day cycle. You do not judge yourself. You do not shame yourself. You recognize that the first attempt was practice, and now you begin again with the wisdom you gained. But if you hit the threshold, you move into phase 2. In the next 30 days, from day 31 to day 60, you add a new layer. You are no longer just executing the ritual. You are building systems. Your goal is to have 2 complete systems operational by day 60. A system is a documented process that produces a result without requiring your constant presence. It could be a lead generation system, a funnel that attracts prospects, qualifies them, and books them onto your calendar automatically. It could be a delivery system, a sequence of steps that takes a client from purchase to transformation without you needing to invent the path every time. It could be a content system, a method for producing valuable material on a schedule that feeds your audience and builds your authority. You choose 2 systems that matter most to your definite chief aim, and you build them during this phase. 1 hour per week per system, 8 hours per system over the 60-day span. That is enough time to document, test, refine, and launch. By day 60, those 2 systems should be running. They do not need to be perfect. They need to be operational. They need to be producing results without you manually pushing every lever. And once they are running, you have crossed another threshold. You are no longer just a man who works. You are a man who owns machinery. And machinery multiplies effort. At day 60, you assess again. Are your 2 systems operational? Are they producing results? If yes, you move into phase 3. If not, you spend another 30 days refining them. You do not move forward until the foundation is solid. But once the systems are running, you enter the final phase. From day 61 to day 90, your focus shifts to validation. You are no longer just building, you are proving. Your goal is to have 1 validated offer by day 90, an offer that has been purchased at least 10 times or contracted at least 3 times, depending on the price point. This is the test. Can you create value that the market will pay for? Can you package it clearly? Can you present it confidently? Can you close it consistently? If you can do this 10 times in 30 days, you have proven that you have a business, not a hustle, not a side project, not a hope, a business, a repeatable method for generating revenue by delivering transformation. And once you have that, once you have crossed the 90-day threshold with consistency above 80%, with 2 systems operational, and with 1 validated offer, you are no longer the same man who started. You are no longer experimenting. You are executing. You are no longer hoping. You are building. And the next 90 days will produce more than the previous 3 years because you have installed the operating system that creates wealth. But I must tell you plainly, most men will not make it to day 90. Most will break at day 7. Some will break at day 21. A few will make it to day 30 and then drift. And the reason they break is not because the ritual is too hard. It is because they do not guard against the objections that rise from within. And so I must name those objections now. I must expose them so that when they arrive, you recognize them as lies and you continue anyway. The first objection is time. You will tell yourself that you do not have 90 minutes for deep work. You will tell yourself that you cannot wake at 5:30. You will tell yourself that your life is too busy, your responsibilities too many, your schedule too full. And I will tell you this, you do not lack time, you lack priority. Every man has the same 24 hours. The difference is how he spends them. If you can spend 2 hours watching screens, you can spend 90 minutes building wealth. If you can spend 30 minutes scrolling, you can spend 30 minutes in ritual. You do not need more time. You need to eliminate what does not serve your aim. And once you do, you will find that time expands, not because the day grew longer, but because you stopped wasting what you had. The second objection is emotion. You will wake one morning and you will not feel like speaking your affirmations. You will not feel motivated, you will not feel inspired, and you will believe that feeling is a valid reason to skip. But feeling is not the master. Decision is the master. You do not act because you feel like it. You act because you decided. And once you decided, your feelings become irrelevant. The ritual is not dependent on emotion. It creates emotion. You speak your affirmations even when you do not feel them, and by the end of the 33 declarations, you will feel them. You do not wait for motivation. You create it through action. And the man who understands this is free from the tyranny of moods. The third objection is fear. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of being seen speaking to a mirror. Fear of failing publicly after committing. Fear of what others will say when you change. And I will tell you this, the opinion of drifters is worthless. The man who has never built will mock the man who is building. The woman who has never committed will criticize the woman who has. Do not share your ritual with those who cannot understand it. Do not seek validation from those who have not walked the path. Protect your vision, guard your practice. Walk alone if you must, and let your results speak when the time comes. The world does not respect words, it respects outcomes. So, build in silence and let success make the noise. The fourth objection is doubt. You will execute the ritual for 7 days, for 14 days, and you will look at your bank account and see no change. You will look at your circumstances and see no evidence. And you will say, "This is not working." But you are measuring too soon. You are looking for harvest in the week you planted. The subconscious mind does not change overnight. It changes through repetition. It changes through rhythm. It changes when you prove, through consistent action, that you are serious. And that proof takes time. So you do not measure outcomes in the first 30 days. You measure execution. You measure consistency. And you trust that if you obey the law will obey you. The harvest comes after the season, not before. The fifth objection is old beliefs. You will hear voices from your past, voices that told you money is hard, voices that told you success is for others, voices that told you to stay small, stay safe, stay quiet. And those voices will rise when you begin to change. They will whisper that you are not worthy. They will remind you of past failures. They will tell you that this time will be no different, and you must silence them, not by fighting them, but by replacing them. Every time an old belief rises, you speak a new one. Every time doubt whispers, you declare faith. Every time fear suggests retreat, you take one step forward. You are not erasing the old programming. You are overwriting it. And overwriting requires volume, requires repetition, requires persistence. The sixth objection is isolation. You will feel alone. You will look around and see others living as they always have. You will see them drifting. You will see them complaining. You will see them avoiding the work, and you will wonder if you are the only one who sees the truth. You are not. There are others on this path. They are quiet, they are focused, they are building. And you will find them when you are ready. But until then, you must be willing to walk alone. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to be dismissed, because the man who builds always walks ahead of the crowd, and the crowd always mocks what it does not yet understand. But one day, when your systems are running, when your offer is validated, when your wealth has multiplied, the crowd will ask how you did it, and you will simply smile, because you know you followed the law, you executed the ritual, you did not break. Now let me show you the system that converts hours into ownership. This is the weekly practice that ensures you are not just working hard, but building assets. Every Sunday evening, you sit with a blank page. You review the past week. You identify one process that you repeated multiple times. Perhaps it was the way you opened a sales conversation, Perhaps it was the way you onboarded a new client. Perhaps it was the way you created content. You choose one process and you document it. Step by step, you write the exact sequence. You capture the language. You note the timing. You turn what was invisible into something visible, and that documentation becomes an asset. Once documented, you create a template or a checklist. If it is a sales conversation, you create a script with the key questions, the transitions, the closes. If it is an onboarding process, you create a checklist that can be handed to someone else. If it is content creation, you create a framework that can be repeated. You spend 1 hour turning the process into a tool, and then you test it. You use it once, you refine it, and then you store it in a system where you can access it anytime. By the end of 12 weeks, you will have 12 documented processes, 12 assets, 12 pieces of intellectual property that can be trained, delegated, automated, or sold. And those 12 assets, collectively, become the machinery that runs without you. This is how you stop trading time for money. This is how you build ownership. 1 process per week, 1 hour per process, 12 weeks, 12 assets, and a business that no longer requires your constant presence. Now we arrive at the final moment, the moment when all the laws converge, the moment when you must decide who you will be. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, you have heard the instruction. You have seen the ritual. You have been given the structure, the metrics, the milestones, and now you must choose. Will you be the man who nods and does nothing? Will you be the man who starts and stops? Or will you be the man who decides, who commits, who executes, without deviation for 30 days, for 60 days, for 90 days, and who emerges transformed? I tell you now, with the weight of every principle I have taught, with the authority of every law I have revealed, with the conviction born from observing thousands of men who succeeded and thousands who failed, you are standing at the threshold. Behind you is the life you have known, the life of drift, the life of reaction, the life of working hard and building nothing, the life of hoping and waiting and wishing. And before you is the life you were meant to live, the life of command, the life of rhythm, the life of systems that multiply, the life of wealth that obeys. And between those two lives is one decision, one commitment, one ritual, repeated without fail. You do not need permission. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need more information. You need to decide. And the decision must be made now. Not after you finish this, not after you think about it, now, while the fire is still burning, while the law is still clear, while the voice of truth is still louder than the voice of fear. You must decide that you will not remain where you are, that you will not serve the chaos any longer, that you will not trade your life for crumbs, that you will build, that you will own, that you will command. And so I call you to make a vow, not to me, to yourself, not a casual promise, an irrevocable oath, and you will make it aloud. You will speak it now, as you hear these words, or you will speak it when you rise tomorrow before the Sunday. But you will speak it, and once spoken, it cannot be unspoken. Once declared, it becomes law, and you will obey it, or you will know yourself as a man who breaks his word. Here is the vow. Speak it with me. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. I command wealth through wisdom. I speak law. I speak belief. I speak what I am becoming. Each day I act in obedience to my definite aim. I plant understanding, and I reap gold. In counsel, power multiplies. I serve by value. I receive by transformation. I command attention. Attention commands destiny. Hours serve. Systems govern. I own systems, not shifts. I do not shrink. I do not stall. I move while others wait. I am what I have decided to become. Nothing is impossible because I believe. I will execute this ritual for 30 days without fail. I will speak my affirmations every morning. I will complete my deep work every day. I will hit my metric without excuse. I will review my progress every evening. I will document one process every week. I will build 2 systems by day 60. I will validate one offer by day 90. I will not break. I will not drift. I will not negotiate. This is my vow. This is my law. This is who I am. Say it. Say it aloud. Let your voice fill the room. Let the sound of your commitment reach your own ears, because you are not speaking to the world. You are speaking to the part of you that has been waiting for this moment, the part that knows you were made for more, the part that has watched you delay, has watched you doubt, has watched you settle, and that part is now listening. And it will either hear a man who means what he says, or it will hear another excuse. So speak. Speak with power. Speak with finality. Speak as the man who has already decided, and let that decision echo in the chamber of your mind until it becomes the only voice you hear. Now, here is your order. Not a suggestion, not a recommendation, an order. And this order must be executed in the next 24 hours, not this week, not when you have time. In the next 24 hours, you will take one piece of paper. You will write your definite chief, aim at the top, specific, measurable, dated. You will write it in clear handwriting. You will read it aloud 3 times, and then you will record yourself reading it. 60 seconds. Your voice, your aim, your commitment, saved on your device so that you can listen to it when doubt arrives. After you write it, after you record it, you will execute your metric for the first time. You will make 10 contacts of value, 10 conversations, 10 messages, 10 calls, 10 proposals, whatever moves your aim forward, not 5, not 3, 10. You will do it before the sun sets tomorrow. You will not delay. You will not negotiate. You will act as if your life depends upon it, because it does. And then, before you sleep tomorrow night, you will document one simple process, one sequence of steps, one checklist, one script. It does not need to be perfect. It needs to exist. Written, visible, saved. 3 actions, 24 hours. Write and record your aim. Execute 10 contacts. Document one process. If you do this, you will have crossed the threshold. You will have proven to yourself that you are not the man who listens and forgets. You are the man who listens and acts. And once you prove it tomorrow, you will prove it again the next day, and the next, and 30 days from now, you will look back at this moment and you will see it as the turning point. The day you stopped drifting, the day you started building, the day you obeyed the law. And here is the image I leave you with. Picture yourself 90 days from now. It is early morning. The sun has not yet risen. You walk to your desk and you open your calendar. You see 90 bold marks, 90 days of execution, 90 proofs of commitment. You see your 2 systems running. You see clients moving through your process without you manually guiding each step. You see revenue arriving from offers you presented weeks ago. You open your bank account and you see a number that was not there 90 days prior. Not because luck arrived, not because circumstances changed, but because you changed, because you decided, because you built, you stand. You walk to the window. You look out at the city still asleep, and you feel something you have not felt in years. You feel ownership. You feel command. You feel the weight of discipline and the freedom it purchased. You are no longer the man who hopes. You are the man who knows. You know that wealth obeys law. You know that you have followed the law, and you know that the result was inevitable, not magic, not chance, law. And you smile, not because the journey is over, but because you finally understand. The journey never ends, but now you are the one who commands it. Now you are the one who builds. So you have a might to mand it. Now you are the owner, and no one can take that from you. This is your future. If you decide, if you commit, if you execute, the ritual is in your hands. The law is in your mind. The power is in your daily action. Begin tomorrow at 5:30. Speak your affirmations. Complete your deep work. Hit your metric. Document your process and do not stop for 30 days. Then 60, then 90. And when those 90 days are complete, you will not need me to tell you what to do next, because you will have become the man who knows, the man who commands, the man who builds wealth by obeying law. Go now, write your aim, record your voice, make your contacts, document your system. The next 24 hours will decide everything. Do not waste them.